Hey everyone, Ryan here, or MandRproductions, and today I wanted to do a slightly different comparison video than normal. So we're not going to be using any stat sheet or anything. This is just going to be a straight up comparison between two sets. First up, we have the 2011 Diagon Alley. It had 2,025 pieces, and when released, retailed for $150. Now, adjusted for inflation, that's about 175 bucks, so not too big a difference. But where the difference with this set really is in its value on sites like eBay and Bricklink. When I picked this up a few months back, I paid about $440 for it, and much to my surprise, I thought the value on this was going to go down after the new Diagon Alley got revealed and came out. The set went up in value. It's now going to cost you about $600 new in box, which is ironically $200 more than the newer set will cost you. But obviously this is going to have some different buildings maybe that you're into. I think the main reason the price of this may have gone up so drastically is that once people realized the new Hogwarts wouldn't have Gringotts, people went out and got this or wanted to get this. And the other Diagon Alley set I wanted to take a look at here is set number 75978 from 2020, obviously, with 5,544 pieces. It was a $400 set. So what LEGO is charging is a little bit more than double what the original set cost with inflation counted for. And you're getting a very big upgrade, in my opinion, from the 2011 model. Obviously, you have a couple buildings from the 2011 model that aren't here. However, you do get a ton more buildings in this set. You get a much more complete and cohesive set, in my opinion. And it's worth noting that the newer Harry Potter set did have a mystery box included, which was really awesome, and I won't be keeping that a secret in this video, so if you don't want to know what's in here, you shouldn't be here. For the 2011 version of the Diagon Alley, you did get 11 figures, starting off with Hagrid here, who looks great. Harry Potter, Hermione, and Ron all looking pretty snazzy as well. They do have the older style wands, which definitely are a step down from what we see in today's world, but the figures still look nice enough. You also do have the Weasley brothers. Despite the absence of their shop in this particular set, it was still nice to get them as figures in the set. Fenrir Greyback and Lucius Malfoy. I have Malfoy with his Death Eater face on right now, but the set does also include the hairpiece there, so you can actually swap him out to kind of be the normal Lucius Malfoy. And you have Ollivander and a couple goblins to round out the character selection. Of course, it's great that we get the goblins. Kind of weird looking, though. They definitely would be updated if LEGO does eventually bring these back in a modern Harry Potter set. This is like the original goblin design. It doesn't look so great, but that's 11 figures. It's not bad for the set. It makes sense for the set, but obviously the 2020 version should provide us more. The 2020 set has 15 minifigures, so you get 4 more figures. The characters also have more appropriate heights. Unlike the 2011 model, the characters do have their shorter legs because these are from the earlier years, but the Harry, Hermione, and Ron are very nice. The Weasley brothers have more muted colors, however, I think it is more accurate and looks better there. And you have Ginny and Molly Weasley there looking pretty snazzy. Lucius Malfoy and Draco Malfoy. Unfortunately, no Death Eater look for Lucius Malfoy in this case. The Daily Prophet photographer, it's the only time I've ever seen him in LEGO. Looks great. Got the dual molded hat with hair there. And a great brick built camera. We have Ollivander. We have Florian Fortescue. I think he's the guy who owns the ice cream parlor. And then we have Lockhart. And then on a stand with the two of them, we have Harry and Hagrid. I think it's important to show the two Hagrids. At least you can see the difference between the two Hagrids there. But the rest of the characters all see minor upgrades or are brand new to this set. These are the 3 characters we do not see return in the new set, with Fenrir Greyback and a couple of goblins, especially because there is no Gringotts. But the rest of the characters are returning with upgrades or are brand new that we don't see in the older Diagon Alley, which is really awesome to see. I like the newer selection better. Hey, old Hagrid's still there. I like the newer selection better, though, for sure, and I think most people would agree that it is better. And in line with the main goal of this video, here are the Diagon Alley sets right next to each other. I wanted to show that to you. That was kind of the main idea behind this video. You can just see how many more buildings you get with the newer set. And as you would expect for paying more than double the price of the original set at retail, you would get more, right? You would be very disappointed to find that you got less. And LEGO really did deliver on the newer set. By the way, I dropped the newer set before filming this and lost a couple pieces somehow. I don't know, but I did. So the buildings you get on the older set are going to be the Gringotts Bank, the Borgin and Burke's, and then you also have Ollivander's Wand Shop. And interestingly enough, you can see Ollivander's Wand Shop here. Ollivander's Wand Shop is the only building that we see replicated in the newer model as well, so it's the only one you can really draw an apples-to-apples comparison of. And you can see the difference in design. New versus old Ollivanders, they are way different. And you may prefer the look of the older one, but I think most people would agree that the newer one is definitely going to be better. And the older one also had some issues. So you can see how they have this top level where it kind of juts out. Well, that creates a problem because it's top heavy. There's not a big base. There's no front area to the base to actually kind of counteract that weight displacement. And you can see how it's going to be top heavy. I have this thing topple over very often with barely moving it. So it is a bit of a problem. I think it's worth showing side by side the interiors as well. And you can see while the 2011 model was nice, it did only use stickers for the wand boxes. You had some extra wands in there and you had a nice little quibbler as well as like checkout counter basically. There wasn't a lot going on in there. The ladder was nice. I actually prefer the ladder in this model, although it does tend to pop off. I prefer the design and the look for the ladder in this model to the ladder in the newer model, which is just loose in there and will fall out and everything. So that's nice. Newer model does have stairs, which can fold in and out of the build depending on how you're displaying your model. This one does not have stairs to go to the top level, it just has the ladder. The ladder on this one is just kind of used to access these wands, and there are wand boxes in this set. You can see an opened one here on the table that has the newer style Harry Potter wand. Also love the open drawer detail. You have a chair, of course, the ladder that we already mentioned. The railing is a really nice build, and then you again have these stairs that can fold in and out of your way with more wand boxes hidden up there. And then you have the checkout counter again with some writing and all that jazz in there. Nice display things in the windows that you don't really get in the older set. They really didn't have the space to display things in the windows, but the newer set they do, and you can see like candles and whatnot in there. So that's really nice. I think that that was a major upgrade over the older set for sure, just looking at that. And then built into that, you have the scribulus. So you can see how disappointing the older set kind of looks now, at least with Ollivander's. And it's even bigger, even though it's built into a thing with two. It does have the base on the older one, of course, which gives it better weight distribution. You don't have to worry about it falling over like this one. So that was a big problem. Now, the Gringotts Bank is the one reason to buy the old set, in my opinion. Maybe you want the Borgin and Burke, but the Gringotts Bank is really where the older set shines over the newer one. If you're really having trouble deciding, this may be a small factor pushing you to the older one. Although I think that these kind of exist on their own, and I don't think you should be deciding one over the other, to be honest. I think they both are good on their own merits. But the Gringotts Bank is unfortunately not included in the new set, and it's not known currently whether or not we will see a new one in the future. You can say, oh, it's a thing that would make sense for LEGO to do, but that doesn't mean LEGO's going to do it. LEGO doesn't always do things that make sense. But the interior of this is quite lacking. The interior on all the newer sets are not quite lacking because they're all built on those 16 by 32 base plates. These are not. They're just built on regular LEGO plates, and they do not give you a lot of space to work with here as far as having builds on them. But it does have a nice vault there with lots of pieces and gold in there. So that's definitely a plus. I can only imagine what they would be able to do now, especially if they were to put so much space that they have on these newer ones to use. You have nice paintings up on the walls, windows and everything, a chandelier up high, and then a space for one of your goblins to stand in. I also really love the giant double doors for this building. They definitely are very grandiose. The building does also close up. That's something none of the newer buildings can do, but I mean, if you think this is good, I guess. It closes up and then it looks like this. You have these nice top windows, which you can kind of peer down into, also lets some light in. So it looks really nice when it's closed up like this. Unfortunately, it's just not very big. Like, it just straight up is really small and does not provide a lot of space or play function. It is rather small, but it does have quite an immense amount of detail for its size. They really tried to go all out with the detail for 2011, and it looks good. The other unique building for 2011 is the Borgin and Burke's. You do not see this in the newer one. It does have a Windows Shop display. In the inside, you do get to use some of the Flu Network, but it's just not that cool a set, I would say. And this actually does kind of connect in with another set, I believe. So that's actually one neat factor about this Diagon Alley from 2011 is that another set from the time had another one of these, and you kind of work between the two. It does have some glow-in-the-dark pieces, which I guess could be a draw for some people. But ultimately, the older Diagon Alley set really suffers from a lack of cohesiveness. The newer ones' buildings all connect and everything. You can create them into an alley, and I'll show you that here in a moment. But the older one just didn't have that. It was just 3 standalone buildings that were comparatively small to the newer set, and they had some weight issues where they can fall over. They didn't have base plates, so they had very limited interior space and details and whatnot. So it just wasn't all that exciting compared to the new one, and it's shocking that these have gone up so much in value that if you want this new in box, it's going to cost you $200 more than it would cost you for all of that. But I guess it's not that surprising. I guess people really want that Gringotts Bank, so hopefully LEGO sees that and will go ahead and release something like that in the future. But dang, they don't even go that well with the newer set either. I could see you wanting to get both sets, and I like having both sets, but it's not like when you put them next to each other, it just makes sense and everything works together, right? Like maybe you can get the Gringotts in there, but I don't really see a place for a second Ollivanders or the Borgin and Burks. They just don't really fit into the cityscape that they've kind of created with this Diagon Alley. It is really cool to have the Nocturne Alley built into there. I love the Weasley's Wizard Wheezes shop. I think that's one of the best additions to the newer set. The lavender and the orange just really pop off each other. You have bookshop, you have the ice cream shop, the Daily Prophet, and then of course the Quidditch shop. Like there's just so many buildings and things built into the newer one. It's so incredible. I've done a review of this, so I'm not going to go in depth on everything. That's why I'm just kind of going over it. But you can see how much more expansive the newer one is compared to the older one, and that should be obvious. If you can afford it, the extra money for a Gringotts Bank and the Borgin and Burks, it's not bad. But I don't think I would really recommend spending $1,000 on this, because that's what it would cost you, if you're buying brand new. That's kind of the way I look at it, to get all of these buildings. You could get $400 for just these buildings and I think be pretty well off. An extra $600 for those other 2 buildings to me just doesn't make a ton of sense. But hey, it's up to you if you really want to do something like that, I would say. But it's not something that I would personally recommend. And you can live with just the 4 big buildings that LEGO includes with their newer Diagon Alley set. But let me know in the comments below. I'm curious, did anyone go out and pick up the older one after they saw the newer one? Did they think that the newer one was trash? I'm curious if anybody actually did that. I can't imagine too many people did, but hey, maybe someone out there was like, no Gringotts, I'm not buying that. Fair enough, but the newer one does provide a lot of other really cool buildings, and I think that that's the draw to it. So let me know for sure if you guys enjoyed this quick little different style comparison. I just kind of wanted to show the 2 sets together in a way, and that was kind of the idea of this video. So if you enjoyed that, a like would be appreciated. And if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. You can check out reviews on either of those sets in depth. I'll have them linked down below. So thanks for watching. Peace out.